This is the Crypt Jam. Just jam. Welcome, kitties. Today we're drawing another scaricature for all of my putrid patrons.
God! How did John Kassir do that? Okay, hello guys, this is Aidan, and today we are drawing the Crypt Keeper. He completely won the last Patreon voting poll in a landslide. You could say he buried the competition. Oh, ow, that hurts. Okay. What can we say about the Crypt Keeper? First of all, for those of you who've been living under a rock, like a very deep rock below all the coffins, 6 feet under, the Crypt Keeper was the host of the awesome show Tales from the Crypt, which used to air over on HBO. It was based, of course, on the legendary EC Comics, with a lot of wonderful artists and writers who contributed to it, and a lot of those stories were resurrected, so to speak. Resurrection! That's a Tales from the Crypt reference. You know it if you know it. Yes, a lot of those classic stories were brought back to life for this wonderful show. Honestly, if you were a horror kid around that time period, you definitely remember this one. Maybe some of us weren't quite old enough to have watched it when it originally ran. Maybe not all of us had cable back in those days. But now in the wonders of the DVD, Blu-ray era or whatever, it's very easy to find the show, and it's very easy to discover all over again just what made it so special. The tone of the show kind of jumped all over the place. You would think first and foremost that yes, this is a horror series, but if anyone who's watched the show and anyone who's familiar with the host knows that there was a lot of humor in it. Now, that humor, of course, was gallows humor, very dark humor. So if that's not really quite your thing, then, well, there was always the Saturday morning cartoon alternative, which had its moments too. Yeah, this show could get very sick, but always with a good tone. It was very rarely just mean-spirited or sick for its own sake. Nearly all the time, it was doing it so just for entertainment, just for humor, and sometimes to teach a lesson, although give the show credit that it didn't really, shove its morals onto people. That's just good old-fashioned storytelling, teaching people, don't be a jerk, don't kill your spouse, otherwise your spouse will come back to life and kill you, and you'll have it coming. The stories on the show had a very wide range, or lower birth, of styles, which made it really all the more enjoyable. You never really quite knew what you were getting. Some episodes were flat-out zany comedy, some of them were very dark and grim, and some of them were just very surprisingly, not even quite horror-related, you could say. As far as anthologies go, I think only The Twilight Zone has more range than this one did, but honestly, I think you're getting a lot of good stuff with any given season of Tales from the Crypt. And of course, what made it so memorable was that host. The Crypt Keeper, yes, you can nitpick and say, well, he didn't quite look like the comic book version, but whatever. The puppet was its own thing. It very much came to life under the amazing animatronics by the team, and of course, by that voice by John Kassir. The Crypt Keeper has become really a horror icon, or definitely a horror icon of the 90s. If you were around back then, you knew this guy. You saw him make cameos here and there in movies and TV shows. Hopefully he'll return again someday. I'm sure I'm referring to this puppet like it's a real person. Yes, I'm sure he hits the convention scene every now and then, either under his human host or as the full-blown Crypt Keeper puppet. But that really is to the show's strength that this puppet came to life so much and just became a celebrity on his own. That really is amazing. Would we ever see Tales from the Crypt again? And if it was ever rebooted, would it have that same magic or strength or horror that it originally did? Who knows? I think for what the show was, it was very much a product of its time. As you know, if you've seen the Crypt Jam, hey, don't knock it. We liked it back then. We didn't know any better. And like I was saying before, it's easy to rediscover the show again and fall in love with it all over. There are a lot of great episodes in this series, so much so that I'm almost tempted to do kind of a Nostalgia Critic top 10, top 11, top 13, choosing my favorite episodes, but I'm sure you guys have a lot of your own favorites that you'd like to share. So go ahead and mention them in the comments below, and heck, if enough patrons like this, we can always return to this series and draw some of the famous faces or creepy creatures that showed up. It's always fun to come back to the crypt. So thank you very much again, patrons, for your support and for your votes. And to everyone else out there, have a happy Halloween, and I hope it's a real scream! Ow! Hello, creepy kids! Next week we are having a new commentary video for the Scarecrow Spook Show called Horrorful Holidays. If you don't already own the book, The Scarecrow Spook Show, you can find it in my online bookstore, or if you join in as a patron, you'll be sent a special digital PDF copy of the chapters we'll be talking about there so you can follow along. See you guys next week. Happy holidays.